Welcome back to another Value Bites session. We are so excited to have Amisha here with us today. So we're really excited to talk with you about marketing because we haven't gotten to talk about marketing on a Value Bites in a while, and especially thinking about marketing as a change agent. So before we dive into that too much, tell us about yourself and how you work with businesses and business owners.
Yeah, so I work with, I'm a fractional chief marketing officer. I work with 7 and 8 figure business owners in the online education, coaching, and consulting space. I help my clients, who I like to call them as visionaries, to define where they want to go and why. And my job is to help them with the how and the what in the broad sense of the term. So I form the marketing strategy, manage the troops, and by troops, I mean our sales teams and marketing teams, and put in the resources so we can get to the visionary's destination. And currently, I work with businesses who are in the recurring revenue model, more like memberships. So yeah, that's awesome.
We're so excited to have you on, Amisha. We're always excited to talk to folks that are in the marketing world, that are potential collaborators, and just that have great ideas. And I think the spirit of you working to help folks kind of turn their vision into reality, it really speaks to kind of how we work. And so one of the questions that I have for you is that, in your experience, how do you feel like marketing can be a powerful tool for businesses and owners that are really looking to drive change and growth? How do you feel like marketing comes into play?
Wow, if he had an hour for this question.
I know, and please do it in 1 minute or less.
I'll try. Answer. That's easy, right?
Yeah. So I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you what we can't do without marketing, right? Without marketing, you can't be visible because nobody knows you exist. And particularly when you're working with what I like to call a vitamin offer, you know, that whole metaphor of whether your product is a vitamin or is it a painkiller, right? That's the concept here. So in the work I do, which is helping my clients sell their coaching services, memberships, digital courses, you know, they're more expert-based businesses. They aren't necessarily painkiller offers, right? Relatively. So if there's no marketing done for these offers, like if they're not visible, the audience will learn to still do without them. And, you know, their lives will just go on with like, okay, whatever, I don't need that. So it's very important. The point I'm trying to make is you need to be visible. Without marketing, you can't build brand trust. Consistent and authentic messaging helps build trust with your audience. And, you know, that's where you develop those relationships, and they're very vital for sustained growth. So once you're visible, you realize there are other offers similar to yours, right? Whom we like to call competitors. You need to build your brand trust and awareness with your audience consistently to show them why your service or product. Without marketing, you can't drive customer engagement, right? You need to meaningfully interact through various marketing channels. Like, are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are you reaching them through DMs? Are you appearing on stages where you know a lot of your audience is, or a podcast? There are different marketing channels to keep your audience engaged, and you know they can turn one-time buyers into loyal customers. And lastly, this is my favorite. Without marketing, you can't optimize your resources. And I love how practical this is, because I mean, when we think of marketing, we want to be everywhere, right? Let's do ad, let's post content in 5 social media platforms, let's start a podcast, and on and on and on, which is fine if you're at that stage in your business, like, you know, at the 7 or 8 figure level. But a lot of marketers, I mean, a lot of companies are maybe not. But when you market effectively, you can help allocate your resources efficiently. So no point advertising on Pinterest if the leads you're getting are crappy and they're not converting. Move on to another platform. So you want to like look at your data and say, all right, where am I getting great leads? And what platform is that? Doesn't have to be social media. It could be any of your marketing efforts. So optimize your resources all the time.
That's such a great point. The optimizing of the resources is something that we absolutely can relate to. And I love what you said about it doesn't matter where you're putting out your marketing efforts if it's not getting you the results. And so we oftentimes focus on like, hey, like those are vanity metrics, right? Like if you want to, like the Pinterest board, if you want to build a Pinterest board, like who cares if you have 1 million followers over at Pinterest if like nobody is converting into a sell? At the end of the day, the 10 hours you're spending over there is a waste of your time if you're not converting. And so
totally,
I think that really resonates a lot, like where being able to optimize your resources. And because we have data, we know where we can really look to drive change and to optimize those resources. So I completely can relate to that and as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to have you back just for a session to talk about data, because that's like
anytime. I love that.
There's so much we could get into there.
I think that we'll have to do like a month of like just like data nerd series, and Amisha's gonna have, we're gonna have to come on and go 100%. Dive in. I love it.
Totally.
So I think you kind of started to touch on some of this and what you were just saying, but what are some of the most common like misconceptions or pitfalls that you see your clients falling into when it comes to creating not just their marketing strategy, but really trying to create something that has that residual, that recurring income, rather than the vanity metrics and the things that maybe they might want to be focused on that don't really matter? And then how do you help guide your clients around those pitfalls?
Yeah. And like I said, there's so many ways we can dig into this, but I'll just give you my top 3. Oftentimes it's the let's set and forget mentality, right? Like, so believing that you have a strategy once in place, it will just generate revenue forever without ongoing effort. So like an evergreen webinar funnel that I've helped a lot of my clients, because that's the dream. Let's launch this offer live a couple of times and let's turn this into evergreen. And by evergreen, I mean, you've got systems in place. Someone sees your webinar or what you're selling online, or, you tell them about it. They go to that, the particular webinar landing page, they sign up like, oh, I like what they have to offer. They sign up for this masterclass or webinar or whatever it is, or a video series they're watching. And the objective at the end of while you're watching it is you buy the thing, right? So, and I see this a lot with people who have evergreen funnels, that sometimes, okay, they convert when you start launching them, maybe, but like 3-4 months into it, they stop converting. They don't convert anymore. So that set and forget mentality is something that you want to stay away from. So where I would guide my clients is like emphasize the need for continuous monitoring, obviously. And I think it's coming back to data, right? Adapt the messaging. Like if it's the same webinar every month for 6 months, you got to like put in some tweaks. Is it relevant? Like, I know this is going back to 2020 when we would see evergreen webinars and they would forget that COVID is all around them. There is no relevancy. There is no context. So if your messaging is not aligning anymore, you need to see, all right, what's going on in the world where I can kind of like, hone or tweak my messaging and maybe even the offer. So you can't set it and forget it. You've got to continuously optimize it. The other mistake I see is overlooking customer retention. So this is one of the things that I see often in my membership clients. They focus solely on acquiring new members and neglecting the retaining of the existing ones.
Yeah.
Right. We're always like, oh, I want more people, more members to join my amazing membership. And I'm all for acquisition. It's what I do mostly. I'm not a community manager, which is more on the retention side of memberships. And I'm all for like, hey, this is a strategy we can use to acquire members. Try this, try that. But if you've got a churn rate, say more than 10% in your memberships, if you've got more people leaving than entering, there's a problem. You need to slow down on the acquisition and focus on improving retention, because you encourage strategies that prioritize customer loyalty, such as loyalty programs, great customer service. I know this sounds so simplistic, but like really listening to your members inside the membership, having a community manager curate those conversations, lead those conversations, host those sessions, and the customer service team going above and beyond, like listening to the complaints, like, hey, I can't access this or that. Simple things, right? Give them excellent service, personalized communication. These are things that go a long way where members are like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is a place where I can thrive, I can learn, and I want to be a part of it. I want to tell my friends that they need to be in on this. So focus on people. And it's like basic business rule, right? If you've got existing clients, really treat them well, because word of mouth, A, B, they may continue to stay on and work with you rather than just, oh, I've got a client. Let's see how I can bring 10 more clients, which is great, but you need to align your priorities.
Yeah.
Lastly, lack of diversification. So relying too heavily on a single source of income, right? Making the business vulnerable to market fluctuations. So I'm not saying you need to have 10 different offers. Please don't do that. That's craziness. Maybe you have a core offer, and maybe it's like at a price point. And I would say in the online world, let's say a core offer, kind of affordable, is like at $4.97. That's a midpoint offer, core level. Maybe you need an entry offer, which is a little lower price, where you're solving a very specific problem. Maybe it's $97, right? It's an entry level product, but it's also another source of bringing in people who may not be that elevated in their journeys to say, I need a $4.97 product. So you're kind of catering to that audience there, right? You have a second income stream. And then after the core offer, you want to look, all right, how do I increase the customer lifetime value? Maybe offer them an even elevated offer, like a one-on-one consulting arrangement, which is like higher priced than your $4.97, for them to like stick around longer. The point isn't to like, squeeze out the maximum juice out of every person who walks in, but it's really to meet them at their different points in their journey. So kind of like look at diversification that way. So yeah.
I love that. We always say, kind of going back to your second point, we always say leads are not the problem, right? Because so many of our owners focus on lead generation. And for you, it's like acquisition is not the problem. And I think your third comment there really kind of meets the second one too. It's right, by having these other offers there, you're also nurturing them better through the whole customer journey, because even if they're coming in at one of those lower level offers, they're still kind of in that journey of becoming the type of customer you obviously want them to be. And so I love that, of kind of, let's generate revenue along the way as we're continuing to turn them into the right ideal long-term recurring revenue customer. I love that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I feel like, Amisha, the pitfalls really just resonate with principles that folks should really be following when they're trying to create and diversify their revenue streams. And I know from like the diversification standpoint and the work we do working with B2B owners who are looking to exit, that's a topic that we have to address, because we want to make sure that we're developing the right marketing strategy that's not, bringing in and acquiring new leads that are for perhaps that product or service that really you shouldn't be building, because we need to diversify, or we need to bring in new accounts that aren't what you are currently having, or whatever it may be, to get closer to the exit, to help really utilize marketing as a change agent for, ultimately on our end, it's for the sell. So I feel like very much you spoke so many truths that we all can apply. I feel like even myself in my own business, right? I'm like, okay, what are we doing today to make sure that we're going back and really pouring into the retention of our folks as well, even on the marketing side. So, okay. So what would you say would be one of your favorite case studies or stories, an example of how marketing has significantly impacted an owner, a business, as like a change agent, like as something that really was able to make a transition for them somehow in their business?
I'm going to talk about one of my membership clients. They have a great membership, and this particular membership, they work with women business owners who are looking to freelance in the tech space, right? So this is an education-based membership. So great brand. They have another and they do these things right. They already have a core offer in place, and the membership is another offer in their business. So, which is great. They have diversified their income. That's excellent. What they needed, so they already had a strong following, strong brand loyalty. People knew them. I mean, their target audience knew them pretty well. What they were trying to do for their membership was they needed to acquire leads in order to increase enrollments, right? And like, which is why I was brought in, like, hey, can you help us market this so we can bring in more members? And we have already exhausted our warm pipeline of people who already are in our universe already. Which is fine. They did need to spread the word. And, so we obviously had organic marketing campaigns, spreading the word out to newer audiences, doing paid traffic and all that stuff. But what they overlooked was a number of marketing campaigns, mostly email, that we could run to their existing leads in the CRM. And what I mean by that is they had a webinar. The leads, existing warm leads, would go through that webinar once. Some of them would buy and say, yes, this membership is for me. They would enroll, and a bulk of them would not. I don't know, maybe not the right time. I mean, we don't know. And that was the other thing. They weren't surveying their members enough to know why they weren't joining. That's the other thing. You need to collect data every point of the interaction in whatever marketing campaign you do. So they had a bulk of existing leads, warm leads, sitting in their CRM. Most of the times we market once and then we forget. We don't talk about our offers because we're like, oh my gosh, if I talk about this very often, I'm appearing salesy. They don't want it. I feel like I'm hard pressuring them into buying my thing. But it's the way you talk about your offer that matters. And that's where the beauty of marketing comes in. You can use it's the same offer. It's a different wrapping paper. That's what I tell my clients. Give me your offer, and I'm going to, your job is to work on your offer, make it amazing. My job is to wrap beautiful wrapping paper. I could use a storytelling wrapping paper. We could leverage 10, 12 different stories with the same offer. I could use case studies. I could use a taste test, which is common in memberships. Like, hey, try out our membership for a week and see if you like it. I could do something new. Hey, we are doing a new class on how you can merge AI with tech. Would you be interested in joining? So there are different types of wrapping paper you can use to offer your, wrap your offer in, make sales to the same leads who are already in your CRM versus spending money only on acquiring new leads, which is fine. You need to have that engine as well, but you still need to, on the back end, look at your CRM and all the contacts you have, all the customers all the potential good leads who haven't converted. Look at those numbers. How long is it taking them? If on average it's taking them 6 to 7 months, at least you have data running like, okay, for the next 6 to 7 months, I've still got to be in touch with these people and, present my offer in different ways to eventually help them convert. So I think it was just wrapping their head around that marketing isn't a one and done event. New marketing to newer leads and existing leads. That's where the challenge is. How to talk to your existing leads, still offering them the same offer, but presenting it in different ways.
That is so important. Yeah, I think people, and we're just as guilty, right? Of kind of forgetting who's out there and what we've done with them and not coming back and revisiting and doing what marketing's supposed to do and be repetitive to them and tell them over and over again how we can help solve their problems. So I think Randy and I both feel like we could talk to you for hours, and I don't want to bring this to a close, but we're kind of hitting the end of our time. So to wrap things up, tell us 2 things. Number one, if people watch this and walk away and do one thing in their marketing, what is the most important piece of advice you could give them? And then 2, where can they find you to connect and learn more about your services?
One thing I would tell them to do is prioritize data-driven decision-making, right? Like look at your numbers, look at, if you have tools to analyze your customer behavior, market trends, what have you done in the past, what's worked, what's not, and then take that data to kind of form your new marketing strategy. And so data-driven is one thing. And I'm going to do another one just because I like to give a little bit extra always. Play up your strengths and delegate the rest. If you're good at live videos, love people, interviews, you could do live videos often like the one what we're doing right now. You could start a podcast, monetize that, and then tell your team to take that content, repurpose, and splash it all across everywhere where they can repurpose that content to get leads and all the stuff. The point is, do what you're good at, play up your strengths, and delegate everything else.
That is, I wish we had sound effects. I would do like the fireworks, like choo, choo, choo. That is so important. So important.
Yeah, absolutely. Really great advice. Thank you so much, Amisha. It was great to talk to you. And I think we'll y'all just have to come back next time we chat with our fellow marketer.
Yes. Let us know where folks can find you too.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You're a marketer. You got to share that.
Yes, I know, right? So you can go to my website. It's amishashrimanker.com. I am also available on LinkedIn, same name. And yeah, drop me an email, send me a message, and I'm always happy to chat marketing.
Awesome. Thank you again so much. This has been so much fun, and I can't wait to share this with everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been awesome. Thanks so much.